Sexyy Red has kind of turned out 2023, and I like it. Not just because, the color of two of her holes, or because she has created a new mating call for all of us to use, but because she is such a disruptor. And if there's one thing about me, I love a person that disrupts accepted societal norms. So let's just get into it. Welcome to Miss Vixen. I'm Queen. If you are new here, hey boo. And if you are not new here, thanks for coming through again. I appreciate you. So who is Sexyy Red? Born Janae Weary in St. Louis, this rapper who first got online attention in 2018 after reworking a Vanessa Carlton song, 1,000 Miles, on her track, 1,000 Jugs. In 2022, she collaborated with Summer Walker on the controversial music video, Since That God Gave You. You may know her from her gospel hit, Pound Town. Okay, it's not a gospel song. I don't know. That's just funny to me. But anyway, that dropped early this year, January 2023, which actually got her a Nicki Minaj feature for the remix. And that was titled Pound Town 2. And became her first entry on a US Billboard Hot 100 charts. Her follow-up single, Sexyy, had similar success. Both songs were included on her second mixtape. Her rise to fame is pretty quick, leading to many to call her an industry plant. Her presence in what many call the pussy rap era has made her stand out and be scrutinized in a way I've never, quite seen a woman in hip-hop be scrutinized. There's lots of classism and elitism that come up when people talk about her. Black people don't really like to talk about class, mostly because no one wants to admit that they're poor. Well, okay, some people will admit or lie and say they're poor to kind of give their life story some kind of adversity, some kind of, to give their life story some kind of adversity to show that they've earned their position in life, which is shady. But that's a conversation for another day. I'm kind of on a tangent. Let me get back to what I'm actually here for. That, coupled with classic misogynoir, ableism, and whorephobia, all of these things make her a disruptor. Sexyy Red currently represents my favorite disrespectability politics. Today's video will be a community conversation. This time I have my friend Dr. Money, yes, PhD. She has the student loan bills to prove it. A retired family relationship therapist, host of Queer Walk the podcast, the pod for a queer woman of color community, and Rebound Revolution podcast, a not so basketball podcast bringing you revolutionary on and off the court happenings in the WNBA. But before we start, this video is sponsored by Miss Vixen Patreon members. Become a patron for as low as $2 a month to help sustain this platform and get exclusive content. Or if you don't want another subscription and you still want to donate, hit me on a Cash App or PayPal. The links to all of those will be in the description box. And I want to give a big thank you in advance to everyone who comments and gives this video a thumbs up. You're a real one. I fucks with you. So I brought Money here because I wanted to have a conversation about Sexyy Red. There's been so much floating around about Sexyy Red that honestly, I don't get it. It confuses me. I don't quite understand why she's become such a spectacle. I don't understand why she's become such a talk of the town. So I wanted to bring in Money, who was also my hip-hop connoisseur.
You know.
Yeah, you put me on a Megan. We was at South by Southwest and you was like, let's go see. The first time Megan was not Megan Thee Stallion.
She wasn't. She was just, I think it was just like, she had like 3 songs out. She was still wearing them cargo pants. I knew. I was like, that one right there?
No, she knew. We was like, oh, who's this? Oh, this is, So I just want to say that is how knowledgeable and in-depth Money is when it comes to hip-hop, particularly when it comes to women and hip-hop and other queer folks in hip-hop. So I had to have this conversation with Money. I feel like it would have been not full enough if I just did this by myself, because I'm more of an R&B girly. I wanted us to share how we met Sexyy Red. Like, when did you become aware of her, and what feelings did you have when Sexyy Red popped up on the scene?
First, can I say thank you for having me to talk about this, because I really love hip hop. I think you know that, especially women rappers, queer folks who rap. Everybody laughs at me because I don't know the R&B oldies, but I know the hip hop oldies. Okay. So the first time I think I came across Sexyy Red was on Twitter. I think kept seeing, you know how you scroll and you see the same thing over and over again? So I kept seeing this video of this girl dancing in a hair store. And I'm like, oh, okay. She had on like, you know, like one of those beaded belts and stuff. So I'm like, who is this girl that everybody posting dancing in this hair store? And so then I turned the volume on and I heard she was rapping. I'm pretty sure that was Pound Town. And so that was my first encounter. But then I think you know how I feel about Baby Mother, my favorite rapper.
Yes.
Baby Mother had posted, I don't know if it's her mixtape or her album, like Hood Princess, I think it's called. And I was like, okay, let me check her out. And that's when I really was like, okay, Sexyy Red is a thing.
I met her the same way. It was kind of just like, who this girl in the hair supply store? Like, it was just like, okay. And so when I first heard it, I'll be honest, I thought it was a joke because it was just like, who is this crass? I hadn't heard anyone that crass. So I was like, oh, this is cute. And I just kind of moved on. Then around that time was a few months after a breakup for me. And I went to Miami for a friend's birthday. We had a birthday weekend in Miami. We was on a yacht in Miami, and they kept playing that song over and over, and it was like a healing song for me because it was like,
I'm out of town, thugging with my man.
So it became part of my healing. It did. And I was like, I fucks with her. That's how I kind of like came acquainted with her, you know, the ski, you know, whatever. And the rest is history. So yeah, so I just kind of just want us to give our little origin stories of, you know, how we like came up with her, met with her. All women rappers experience high amount of scrutiny, critique, you know, the fine-tooth comb of do they write their raps, all of this stuff that we don't particularly ask about when it comes to men who rap.
Yeah,
it seems to be a lot more for her, or maybe different for her. Do you have any reasons as to why you think that might be?
I have several, and I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm about to really nerd out, and I know, Queen, you have seen me nerd out before, but just a nerd content warning right now. I used to teach hip hop feminism, so I got really like nerdy about it in that process of like trying to create a syllabus. My first thought as to like why she's getting like way more of the fine tooth treatment than like a lot of other like women who rap and who have like similar content in their rap. She's getting like a little more pushback than them. Because I think about like a Suki, you know, like it feels like Sexyy Red getting more heat than Suki. There is this article that kind of like blew my mind when I was in grad school, and it's called "Can the Subaltern Speak" by Gayatri Spivak. And okay, I'm gonna try to do this in like a least jargony way as I can, because that article is very dense because I think it's like a philosophy article, but it totally applies to women in hip hop. So what Spivak is kind of arguing in that article is like, people use our words, like they might use the words that associate with our identity, but they don't actually fuck with our identity, right? They want to use all of the linguistic treadmill that
they want to call everything a trap brunch.
Everything, yes. Everybody want to be Ratchet till it's time to be Ratchet. You know, like everybody's favorite rapper is Beyonce. Like, you know, it's like everybody want to dip in and out of like hood realism, but nobody wants to actually live it. You know? So that's like the first point that I kind of took away from Gayatri's article is like, everybody want to use the language, but they don't actually want the experience. And I think Sexyy Red is putting the experience on display, you know? And then there's this other part of that article that I think really connects to why Sexyy Red gets so much. So Gayatri says that there's oppression and then there's subaltern status. So oppression, I think everybody watching this video understands that, right? It's like when you don't have access to the power to tell your own story, to write your own history, to, you know, like to be that girl. You don't have access to that power just solely based off of the group you belong to, right? So like we see that as like Black people, as queer people, as women. And hip hop was really a response to that oppression, right? Like we don't have those gatekeeper roles in music. we can't gain access into like these electrician career fields because we're Black. So we're gonna go ahead and like recreate this like mix machine and turn it into an instrument. You know, it's like that's how hip hop is born. And so therefore, like in that oppressed class, we kind of have like alternative ways to tell our history. So hip hop became that, right? It's like an alternative. So maybe we not publishing history books, but we do have this like genre.
We do have an archive of these experiences.
Right. When you're subaltern, the powers that be, the like status quo, the white supremacy, whatever you want to call it, doesn't even allow you that access, right? Because that even having that access is an acknowledgement of who you are. Like even being able to make money off of like telling your story for yourself is an acknowledgement at all. Like nothing. And I think that's what's really happening here is like the subaltern is speaking, right? So Sexyy Red represents like a group of Black girls that people act like don't even exist. Like I hear people say like she's a caricature, she's an industry plant. Y'all really don't know a Sexyy Red? Y'all don't know a girl from St. Louis or from anywhere who might have a heavy accent, who might have colorful hair, whose baby daddy is in jail. That's really a reality that don't exist to y'all. So what?
But I think that is indicative of what you said of the what's the language you use?
Subaltern. Yeah.
The subaltern is that what's happening because of the internet. The Black people who are able to be the talking heads for Black people generally aren't from those kind of communities, may have grown up in some kind of slight class privilege, might have grown up in some kind of, if not class privilege, some kind of educational privilege, so they're able to leave those places. And I think that they don't know them or they try to stay away from that bitch.
Yeah.
That Black woman was supposed to just stay there and I wasn't supposed to ever see her again. Like she was supposed to be in a rearview mirror. Exactly. Now here she is on my TV at the BET Awards. And I think that, like you said, it's like she is not supposed to be front stage the way that she is. And people are upset that that's the case.
Exactly. It reminds me of like this like baby mother lyric where she's like, they see the truth when they look at me. They see their aunties and mommies and grannies be, you know, like they see a mirror. It don't get no clearer. I'm everything bitches is scared to be. That lyric from Baby Mother is exactly the reaction to Sexyy Red.
But I want to get like more in depth into this dis-respectability politic. What is that? What does that mean? How did you come about, you know, this whole dis-respectability politic thing?
I have wrote this essay a while back called Respect My Ratchet. And I really wanted to get in that essay about how like Ratchet is a liberatory consciousness. Like it is a way that we like survive under these like systems of oppression, but also it's not just a response to systems of oppression. It's a whole like lived experience that honors like ourselves outside of these systems of oppression too. And so the way that I went about like kind of justifying a Ratchet, which I do say is a disrespectable politic, it's a politic of disrespectability. Shout out to the Crunk Feminist Collective for that one. Brittany Cooper, a politic of disrespectability. I said that it does it in 4 ways, and it follows the mapping of a liberatory consciousness. What they tell us a liberatory consciousness is, Barbara Love, I think, wrote this. It has to have 4 elements, right? It has to have an awareness, an analysis, an action, and an accountability or allyship, right?
Okay.
So I argue in my paper about Ratchet is that like Ratchet has an awareness. You are aware of things differently when you are a person who is Ratchet, right? Like you get to read the world in a different way. You know, like people who are following politics of respectability, just like we was just talking about with that extraction, like you don't see the resources in underserved communities in the same way. because
Yeah.
you're not ratchet, and that's fine. You're just not that.
Uh-huh.
And
Yep.
then like there's like an analysis, right? The way we have like research methodology in the hood. Right? So one of my favorite things about being like a ratchet girl who got a PhD is like I would read these research articles about Black people's experiences and be like, duh. Like I could have told you that. Like
Like, I've been told you that.
exactly, because we have our own ways of analyzing, studying, um,
Yes.
documenting the world in the hood. We just do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So no, we don't have like we didn't put a survey out that got 2,000 responses, but we know grandma said not to do this. And we tried this thing several times and it didn't work out. So that's like the analysis part. And then action. Come on now. Y'all know Ratchet is about that action. I in my article, I talked about how like whenever somebody wants to get some shit done or express something that moves us forward, they always want to dip into the ratchet, right? So whether
Yes.
that's like yelling in the street, you know, whenever Beyonce wants to say something political or like wants to assert like her lived experience and like the feeling she has about it, she raps it. Why is that? Like
Mm-hmm.
because like dipping into that ratchet, like it
Yep.
gives you the freedom to do that outside of any of these expectations that system of power have of you.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then like allyship. This is so funny because I think Sexyy Red is playing this out, right? Like hood dudes love her because she is an ally to the broke boy. She is like, you too, my friend, are a desirable person, and I'll take you down. So it's like
Oh
as she ascends through like this liberatory politic that is ratchetness, she's also bringing like people with her that we
God.
wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily in public say are desirable, right?
Yeah.
Even
Mm-hmm.
though we know that they are, because like, come on, we yeah. So that was kind of like what I was saying is a disrespectability politic. It's like we fit all of these categories of what it takes to be a liberatory politic, and
Mm-hmm.
we do it in this particular way that's outside of these expectations that like power structures have of us because of ratchet. I think something I think about a lot right now with being ratchet or just not being the like hegemonic idea of what a woman is supposed to be, like
Mm-hmm.
however you fall outside of that. Um,
Yeah.
something I think about a lot is I think it was Du Bois, it might have been somebody else, but I'm pretty sure with that double consciousness, it's like this idea that Du Bois talked about where part of our identity is not even ours, right? It's always going to be
Yes.
constructed by
Yep.
like the powers that be telling us
Yep.
who we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so something that I really think about a lot is how Ratchet totally dismisses that part of the construction of identity, right? Like it's just a refusal. It's like you are gonna say I'm this, I'm that, and whatever. And no, I don't have to accept any script that is written about my identity. I can show up as all of who I want to be. And if that falls into a trope or whatever, because there's so few representations of Black womanhood in any space that
Yeah.
like you can quickly get like slotted into these different character archetypes because there's not enough of us to fully represent what it means to like experience Black womanhood.
Yeah.
But like that refusal of being like, I don't have to be none of those scripts. I ain't doing none of that. I really want to write about that. I feel like I have a lot to say. We were sold this narrative that like in order to be successful, we have to be everything she is not, right? So
Exactly.
like whether that's like you have to be light skinned, you have to give up being ratchet. If you from the hood, you're supposed to aspire to no longer live in the hood. Or
Yes.
this is another piece that I feel like is really important here is like poverty and Blackness, when they come together, that is a culture. Like hood is a culture, ratchet is a culture, right? And so like these people who often are the go-tos for like commentary on blackness, they dip in those cultures, they not of those cultures. You know,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know. I think there's like an element of youth too, you know. There's like as we age, we don't participate in hood and ratchetry the way we used to
Used to.
when we was young. So I think like even if these people who are having these reactions like, who is this girl? They may have like aged out of, right? She's like a 20 something. So if you actually are of that culture, you're not youth in that culture anymore. So you actually don't know her experience.
I feel like a lot of those people who are making those comments, even if they lived in it at some point, they made a decision to disconnect so they can have certain accesses to things. You know what I'm saying? And then here's this person who is not disconnected, and we don't know what her life is going to be. She's in her 20s, so whatever, right? Who has not disconnected, who says, this is what it is, and this is who I am, and they have access. And it's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Do that.
This is what I mean by disrespectability politic, right? It's like everything you told me I had to be in order to gain access to power, I said nah. And I'm still gaining access to power. Like it's almost as if it's counter-revolutionary to follow the script. You know, it's like, what do you actually have to give up to gain access when you following the typical script? You often have to give up like connections to the community that made you who you are in the first place. You know, you gotta give up some element of like your blackness by buying into white supremacy in a particular way. And she said no. It was a refusal. It's just a refusal. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm not doing any of that. I'm gonna be barefoot on stage.
Barefoot and pregnant.
Yes.
On stage.
It's like I don't have to do any of that, and I can still like gain the access to like wealth and power that y'all are aspiring to. I think some people are having reactions, like whether they know it or not, is rooted in like white supremacy to how regular she feels. And so that flip of accessibility is like, okay, I could know a girl like this. I probably don't really know a girl like JT or Carisha, you know, who's like these like dating millionaires, don't know when the first of the month is because they don't pay bills. Like I don't know girls who don't know when the first of the month is. I do know, you know, I'm gonna have sex with this dude just because it feels good, and that's it.
And not use my pussy for capital.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing about Sexyy Red that confuses people is because we've had like how many decades of this pussy is going to get me what I needed to get.
Yeah.
Right? This pussy as a kind of exactly. Using pussy as a capital, which okay, do your thing, but this is a person who's like, I'm just fucking because I want to fuck. And it's like for the pussy capitalists, right? That's what they're calling it.
Yes, pussy capitalist.
For the pussy capitalist, here comes Sexyy Red messing up the game because she's just like, I just want to fuck because I want to fuck, and I'll fuck a broke nigga.
I'll fuck a broke nigga because it's good. So this is a pleasure politic that we haven't really heard in like pop rap, you know, like where everybody is rapping it. Like just because it feels good, you do not have to have no millionaire dick, like whatever. You could be a bus driver, and if it feels good, you can do it.
Come on through. Come on through. And what has also been interesting, like especially when the comparison to how other rap girls who are existing now, and also other rap girls who existed before, because let's not act like Trina or Lil Kim, Foxy Brown wasn't using pussy as capital either. Nicki Minaj using pussy as a capital either. I think it's confusing people that she's kind of opted out of that, and I think it also
she's a pussy socialist, not a pussy capitalist, you know.
That's hilarious. Yes, she's a pussy socialist. And how dare you fuck up the system by coming in here being a pussy socialist? But what's also interesting to me is obviously it's not like That is a form of tokenism, but I see men enjoy her too. And then generally, men do not listen to pussy rap and enjoy that shit. Like niggas is skiing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, so that was
Yeah.
something that I thought was like different. And I think it's only different because she's not excluding certain kinds of men. She's not saying you have to have a certain amount or whatever. So I think that is why I don't think it's a full welcoming. Obviously not. She's still a black woman, right?
Yeah.
But that's something that's a little different with her as opposed to like a Cardi B. And I think it also speaks to what most black women who have sex with men, that is what it is. Niggas
Yeah.
don't have money. Like,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
if we want a man with money, we're all probably fucking the same man because
Yeah.
if you look at the statistics on who makes what and blah 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 blah, black men don't make a whole lot of money for all of us to be pussy capitalists in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just I know she's not intentional. She's not waking up saying I'm, you know, whatever, but it's really interesting to see how like she is kind of like throwing a wrench into this system of like, as far as women in hip hop, because I think that the way she's living is the way most black women live. Like, we're gonna fuck the bus driver. We're gonna fuck the guy who sells drugs.
T-shirts out the back of the car. You know,
we're gonna fuck the guy who sells oils at the table because like that is what most of us actually have access to.
That's what I'm talking about. Like that flip of access. It's like, yes, there's access to like, you know, the power structures that be, but it's also access like, can I see you in my neighborhood? Do I know you? Do I recognize a person like you? And I think that's one reason why like men really like fuck with it, because most of them do not have the like capital to see themselves in like Megan Thee Stallion's raps, or you know, like they not buying
broke niggas don't deserve no pussy.
And you know, I've always taken issue with that statement because like most of us are broke. Most of us, like, and I'm not talking about like, you know, like living in poverty according to whatever the poverty cutoff is. I'm talking about most of us like do not own property. Cannot, you know, what did Jared Ball say? Like, if you can quit your job and like not work, don't have any income for 3 months, then that's considered like financial stability. Most of us don't have that. If I don't have income for 3 months, I am fucked. Like I'm done. So it's like we don't have the type of wealth that like they rap about and aspire to. So like the regular people is who we gonna partner with. That's, you know, I'm like, oh, you got benefits? Your job give you paid time off? Oh.
Yeah, that is also why for me a lot of the black women feminist online conversation about dating down and blah 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 blah, I'm like, who are they talking to? Because
it's definitely not me. When they have those conversations, I'll be like, oh,
I'll be checking out because like, who are they talking to? It's not people I know.
Yeah, it's so like baffling to me because one, it's so limiting in like who they think black women are dating. You know, it's like I immediately feel excluded because I'm like, I date masculine people. I even date people who somebody might he, him, his if they didn't know, right? Right? So what would I look like walking around saying like, if you don't have XYZ income, that would totally ignore the way homophobia and misogyny and racism combine in my partner's life, you know? And it's like, and I still think they fine. So I'm gonna still be like, I'm fine. Because you had said something about like men really listen to her, right? And so I've heard people say this, like guys are posting TikToks or reels to like Sexyy Red's music. And I think it's like y'all when y'all say men are listening to it and like they don't really listen to other pussy rap, y'all mean like hetero dudes, right? Who try to like portray this
Yes.
type of
Hyper
masculinity.
masculinity. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cause when I think about like pussy rap, even like back to like Lil Kim, you know, like I used to throw, now I throw wrist to the
No
shit.
to the
Like
shit.
yeah, like I would see dudes play that part of the song. You know, it's not
You're
they're not gonna
right.
keep it.
Yeah.
Or even when
Yeah.
like Nicki came on, you know, like uh I think the first like Nicki verse I seen dudes who weren't queer rap along to was like her 5-star chick verse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think men listen to pussy rap more than they like let on.
You know what? You're right.
Because it wouldn't be as popular of a genre as it is if they didn't. And I don't
Yeah.
just think it's us femmes and like queer men who are holding the genre up. I really, I really think men
You're
be out here.
absolutely right. I'm glad you said that because you're absolutely right. Yes. So I wanted to get into Sexyy Red's look. The
Mm-hmm.
reason I want to get into her look is because it also disrupts and disrespects the system.
Mm-hmm.
And because of her look, there's so much like bad stuff people say about her. So she has tattoos on her face, which is actually more common now. And I think for the most part it's because of her glasses, and she hasn't decided at this point to like physically enhance her body to look like what all the other girls kind of look like right now. Like they don't think she should be talking about sex in that way. Like who fucks you?
Some
I wanted
glasses.
to know you.
I should have worn my glasses for this video just in honor of the bad bitches who wear glasses. Hold on. Let me. Y'all think y'all think these is why I can't get none? The short-sightedness of desirability. Y'all think these plastic frames make me any less of a bad bitch? I don't get it. I'm like really I'm really perplexed by like the conversation around glasses that she has sparked because like y'all don't think people are using corrective lenses and still partnering with people? Yeah, I don't. It's like it feels so fifth grade. Like I feel like fifth grade was the last time somebody was like, "Hey, you wearing glasses?"
You got me dying. So what I think is happening there, and what I notice is because when people there's mad famous people who wear glasses, but they don't wear them. So that you're just not used to seeing people in these arenas, in these spaces who like have on their corrective lenses. So
Yeah.
your brain that can't even commute that like a rapper has astigmatism.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that piece. Also, the way that ableism works, and then also the way that media has tied glasses to nerddom and
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
awkwardness and weirdos.
Yeah.
And here is this rapper talking all of this pushy shit, all of this, she's
Mm-hmm.
gangsta line and shit
Mm-hmm.
with glasses on.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't think their brains could conceptualize all of this stuff because they're just so used to what mainstream has told them what people look like, what people exist like. I'm
Yeah.
noticing also people don't even realize why they desire what they desire.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
just been so fed to you who you're supposed
yeah.
to desire that it blows their mind.
Yeah. This is okay. I'm for take these back off because of the glare, but y'all see the glasses. I've been thinking about this so much around like people don't even know why they desire what they desire. I don't think people even know what they desire. Y'all don't know what y'all like for real. I mean, it's a different layer of it with Black people. I think we have like a really contentious conversation with sexuality and pleasure because of like our bodies not being our own for so long. So I think like trying to explore it all is happening right now for Black people. But in just like a general sense, like everybody, I think that the way media, the powers that be, gender socialization works is like it locks you into an idea of what's supposed to be desired by you, of what you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be into before you even start figuring out what it is you actually like. Like
Yes.
before you get a chance to just let me see. Like you're already being fed the messages of what you're supposed to find desirable. And this is why Sexyy Red is like so important right now for like women in rap, because there has been a mold for so long. Like I think probably since Nicki was by herself for like years, you know,
A
like
whole
as,
decade.
yeah, as like a mainstream woman who raps, like
Mm-hmm.
record execs or like all these gatekeepers figured out like, okay, this is a formula that works, so we're gonna push it. And I think since then there's been a mold of what you have to look like as a woman who raps.
Yeah.
And she's not that. She's not the mold. And there's several other girls who are rapping who are not the mold either. But like because the internet hyperfixates, you know, like that's just the way the algorithms work. It'll see like what are people talking about? Well, let's keep pushing it. Let's keep pushing it.
Yeah.
What are you watching? Well, let's keep having you watch that. Let's keep having you watch that. Because the internet hyperfixates, I think that kind of like catapulted Sexyy Red to like the visibility that she has. You know, everybody got their Twitter fingers ready to talk about her. And usually the hyperfixation looks more like Lotto, right? So it's like this is really confusion. Like this girl who is clearly Black, you know, we not asking her like, "Ooh, where you from?" or whatever.
Where your daddy from? Where your
yeah. It's like I think that confusion is happening because like somehow she has managed to like go around the algorithm to find herself there.
Exactly. And I think that is why the folks who oppose her in the space are kind of upset, because it's like she's supposed to be a joke. Like the way she exists is supposed to be a joke. Like she's supposed to be, I don't know why this pops in my mind, but like that type of like Flavor Flav like person is supposed to always be a joke. Like no matter what. And you're asking me to take this person seriously. You're asking me to say that they're an artist. You're asking me to like I think that that's really blowing a lot of people's minds, and they don't know what to do. I also think that because of who she is, she's easy to pick on, but outside of us. But who is really going to like go hard to make sure she is protected? When we talk about the kind of Black girls we protect, the perfect Black girl, blah 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 blah, she does not fit that at all. So it's easy for you to be like, not that, not whatever, because you know that you can do that without recoil.
That just reminded me of like Mickey Kendall's book Hood Feminism, the women that mainstream feminism forgets. And like easily as a Black woman you fall outside of that, but the Blacker you are, the less ambiguous your Blackness is, the darker skinned you are, the more the way people read, because I think something about the glasses too is connected to classism. So I think the way class gets read on you too, it pushes you outside of being protected. And what, because I think like, you know, like there's this idea about disability that if you are rich enough, you don't have to be disabled no more. Like
you could buy your way out of it.
Yeah, you could buy your way out of disability. Like, got a bag and fix my teeth. You know, like you rich now? Like, where's the corrective surgery LASIK so that you don't have to wear glasses? It's like, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I just want to wake up, wipe my glasses off, and put them on my face.
Put them on.
Yeah. Maybe I don't want to have an elective surgery. And so, like, yeah, I think people are. I wish there was a word for it. I know we have misogynoir, but I think there's like a specific type of misogynoir that those of us who get read as like ratchet, hood, ghetto, it's like a different. It's the misogynoir hits different when they read you as like not a Black girl of like means, you know?
Yeah. Blackness, we're supposed to, in order for us to exist in white supremacy, we have to excel. We have to rise above. We have to, wherever we come from, you don't end up there. Like Sexyy Red is the kind of girl who looks like she was born in that neighborhood and will die in that neighborhood. You know, that type of person. And you're not supposed to be that. You must not have loved your life. You must not have wanted anything. You know, like all of that stuff that we put on people who like are born in the hood or born in the country, because that's also another kind of, whatever, and you don't grow out of that, it's your fault, and there's something in you that's defaulted, and most of us are embarrassed by that. We have family members like that. You're genuinely embarrassed of that
and like
person.
our realities and the statistics show us that most of us are that.
Yes.
Like the fact that we can name, you could probably name off the top of your head every Black billionaire, right? That means that they are an exception, not the rule. Like racist capitalism relies on our reality being, we don't really move too much. Like this is where we are. Like we're locked in. We're workers of the world. Like this is who we are. And I just feel like, what does that say about like how we genuinely feel about our hoods that we always so quick to tell people we from?
But we from.
Like, yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens, all day, every day.
I'm from the Bronx. So the Bronx, I'm from Riverport Towers. That's a project I'm from. But like,
yeah, it's like, how do you really feel about that place? Tell me how you really feel if like your idea of success is to no longer be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And think about what that does to community. Like, think of why that is on purpose, for that to be how we gain any access in this structure, is to leave, pull resources so that nothing stays and nothing remains. And that's why the hood remains the hood. Like, but a lot of us have been told, like, nope, if you want to succeed, if you want to whatever, you have to leave, you have to go, not realizing that that is on purpose so that we cannot build community in the ways that is actually fruitful for us. In the history of the world, people born somewhere and they die in that same place.
This idea that, capitalism created is like, the way to succeed is to extract and leave. Like, don't stick around for the aftermath of the extraction. You don't, none of that is your concern. You just have to get out. And no, you don't have to. You can still be, thugging with your rounds. Be fine.
I get why you want to go to where the resources are, and I get why you want to, like, this idea of leaving for a better life, makes sense. And Black people have done that since the concept of Blackness was existent. So we're not like talking down on that. We get it, but we can't say
that's the only way to have access to resources.
Exactly. The responsibility that we also give Black women. So how many Black man rappers have we seen exist like her, and like not be about anything, not really have a solid message, not really like any other stuff, but because she's a Black woman, she is responsible for a feminist politics. She's responsible for sex positivity. She's responsible to like hold these things, and it's like, I just want to hold money in my hand and like,
exactly. It's an election year. We got to be responsible with our platforms. Y'all don't demand none of that from dudes. You do not demand it at all. Like, and what I was thinking, Queen, is like, when I was also thinking about that subaltern status, is we've heard rappers rap about girls like her, whether it's like Juvenile, give me.
I was just about to say, who do you think Juvenile was talking about?
He said he wanted okay. He did not say he wanted a respectable woman who's never been
right. He also didn't say that he wanted whatever the archetype that like a Cardi or a Nicki is. He wasn't even asking for them. He wasn't even requesting those bitches.
Exactly. We've heard so many songs about like where the hoes at. She a blockhead. Whatever word they wanted to use for it. It's like, we know that the ghetto gutter girls gets it, okay? There's no lack of desire when it comes to, but the difference is like, she is rapping about it in a way of like, I'm not using this desire to like catapult me into capitalist success. And you can no longer just think of me as like an object for you to enact your like desire on. Like I'm gonna also tell you what I like, and I'm gonna also like tell you what I'm doing with my friends, and you're gonna see these other parts of my life that you don't get from like a juvenile rapping about project
Yeah.
chick.
So much you're like opening my mind to. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
these rappers say they want that chick, but who do they partner with? Like who
Mm-hmm.
do they eventually who do they have in their videos? Like who do
Mm-hmm.
they so they say they want this chick, but like
Yeah.
do they want this chick? But and it's like of course they don't because desire says I'm not supposed to want
Mm-hmm.
this chick or whatever. So I think that's another thing that is tugging at is that like she is that black girl is supposed to be a secret. Like
Secret. Yeah.
a black man, even the corporate niggas have a
Mhm.
girl like that in their pocket. Like that's
Yeah.
not even act like they don't. But that woman is always supposed to be a secret and not celebrated
Yeah.
out loud, or she could be the footnote in my song, or she could be the ad lib. She could do the
Yeah.
ad libs, or she could do this, but she
Mhm.
can't be center stage in this way because what does that say about me and what I desire? What does that tell people about what I desire?
This is
You know?
it's like we've gotten so personal with the struggle. Like, we talk a lot about like privilege and like personal reflection and stuff, which I think is necessary, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it like misses the part of like power. Like what it should tell us about our desires personally and collectively is that
Mm-hmm.
whatever powers that exist that have limited desire to this, like this little sliver of whatever, is
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Like we have
Yes.
vast like spectrums of what we find desirable, and that is okay. And
Yes.
I not only okay, I think it would start to totally tear away at these like gender binaries. It would tear away at like expectations of how you're supposed to show up in your gender. It would
Mm-hmm.
tear down
Yes.
like you have to look this very particular way in order to be seen as desirable. I think about this so much in our group chat, like whether we're talking about being a trans woman, being a fat girl, being dark
Mm-hmm.
skinned, like
Yeah.
all these identities that folks tell us are not desirable. Meanwhile, we be out here, getting it. it's like
Yeah. Because
it's like
yes.
who is telling us that? We never get to that question. It's like how did we get so limited in what we think is cute or desirable or worthy of partnering? Like this separation between who we're attracted to in private in secret versus who we post on the Instagram page. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is a question of power. Like if we got to like who is telling us that like this is the IG person, like the person worth posting or being public about versus the person I know I'm gonna like DM later, like what you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that gives have
When you
power.
yeah,
Mhm.
where you equally desire them, obviously, but you don't present them the same because of what the outside entities tell you're
Yeah.
supposed to desire. So
Mhm.
it doesn't mean you don't desire them because it's in secret. You do.
Yeah.
But who
Mhm.
you are, who the ruling class says should be, I guess, shown off
Mhm.
also gives you access. Because I don't think people realize how partnership, romantic partnership, sexual partnership, whatever,
Mhm.
does also give you access to certain things. So that's why
Yeah.
this cis black man is dating these light skinned girls, or these mixed girls, all these white women, all these slim people, when they know that they are attracted to all
Mhm.
of these women.
Yeah. In that way, that's real sad. That's sad. Like, because then your partner is not somebody that you like enjoy spending
Actually,
time with or
yeah.
like actually care about as a person. Your partner is just another checkbox. Like, okay, I'm successful because I got the person who's gonna get 3,000 likes on Instagram. It's like, but do you like her? Do you do you know what she likes? Do you care about her day? It's like this is the way that like relationships are kind of like doomed to fail under white
Yeah.
supremacy and capitalism because
Yeah.
like you partnering with somebody to meet a need whether it's like a status need or like a real like material need, right? Like, okay, I
Yeah.
need a place to live, I need money.
Yeah.
Instead of partnering with people who like fulfill your life, like you actually like being around. The first thing that I feel like I've been burning to talk about since hearing like criticisms of Sexyy Red is like how big classism really is. And I think we need a word for classism when it intersects with misogynoir. Like,
We do. We
yeah.
definitely do.
I think the word classism has gained popularity, but like the movement has not. At this point, classism feels like it's being understood as like, oh wow, poor people have it real hard. And it's like, no, that's just the like tip of the iceberg. Classism is like a struggle to end, right? Like the stigma, the like mistreatment of folks who are poor, yes, and surviving poverty, but also those of us who are just above poor, working class, the working poor, those of us who are hood, maybe are like housing insecure, surviving capitalism as folks who are not the owners of the systems, right? So it's like classism is a whole movement. It's not just like, oh, look at poor people. It's like you as a person who feels that way are also impacted by classism. You might have class privilege. That might be the way you are impacted by it. But classism is like, it's a whole thing. And I think when people like reduce it to just like, oh, that's classist that you said that because I think people assume that like America is not like a caste system. It's like, yes, it is. It's very clear. Like, this country is owned and for like people who have a lot of wealth and the rest of us are struggling. So, like that movement, I think we have to get back to the movement. On the same wave is like people saying that she's an industry plant because of her music. My question to people who say that, like, oh, she's being propped up by whoever, whatever in the industry to like denigrate the image of Black women. It was like, okay, first of all, I feel like we have covered that. But like, what purpose does having gatekeepers or like a Black girl having it hard serve? What I'm really saying is, if she is an industry plant, so who is mad at a Black girl getting fast tracked to superstardom? I'm sure not, because
I'm definitely not. How often does that even fucking happen for a Black girl?
That's what I'm saying. We could probably count on one hand the Black girls who have like catapulted to superstardom. And it's like this has happened for generations with white girls. They take the most basic, regular, do nothing ass white girl. And next thing you know, she's in all of our faces. So it's like, am I mad that this Black girl maybe had like a quicker or easier that you perceive as easier path to superstardom? No, I'm not. I'm not mad.
I'm not either.
That you got it easy. Go ahead, girl.
So I want to say thank you so much, Money, for doing this with me. This was great.
I really miss, talking hip hop feminism like this. So I wish I like had a space to do this regularly.
Sexyy Red does a lot. Whether we know it's intentional or not, that's up in the air. But she still tugs at so many people's standards of Blackness and womanhood and forces you to confront the hood as a culture and not just something you put on to be cool. I want to say thank you again to Money for joining me for this conversation. And please make sure you listen to her podcast, Queer Walk the Podcast, and Rebound Revolution. And follow her on all the socials. I have her linked in the description box below. You've made it to the end of the video, and I'm grateful that you did. Put some dollar signs, emojis in the comments for me so I know who you are, so I know who watched this video in totality. And as always, remember you are enough. You are a bad bitch, and I will see you in the next video.